Hey guys, so we're here with our reading goals for 2020, and I think we've each chosen 5 personal goals we would like to hit this year, as well as a book number we would like to hit. So, to switch things up a bit, we're going to start with Cori.
So, kind of inspired by your last year's 2019 goal, is I want to do the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge.
Oh, nice. The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Okay.
It's PopSugar also has a great one, but I think the Book Riot one is a lot more like in depth. Like you really kind of have to work for some of it, which I appreciate.
They've really got some like wild cards in there.
Yeah, which is great. It makes you kind of explore outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
I don't remember exactly how many challenges there are. At least 20.
Oh, there's no numbers on here.
It's about 20.
It's about 20. Yeah.
But I think
Each worth.
yeah.
Go.
So I think I'm gonna try to do.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'll put mine out of order now in the order I said that I was going to do 7 of them.
Okay.
I had a goal to do 5 last year and did that. So I'll push myself a little bit more and I'll do 7 of them.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good number. I'm also playing on my 2019 reading challenge, and I'm going to try it again. I'm going to read some more plays this year.
Okay.
I bought a lot in this past year, which I didn't read, so I have a nice stack at home that I have no excuse to not just pick one up in a nice cozy evening and just read a play.
Nice.
Good. So yeah, I think I'm going to try and pull the like 1 a month thing. I think I could read a play a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're gonna do a check-in in
Yes,
2020.
I think
in 2019 we didn't do a check-in, so things kind of slipped by the wayside.
So I think a check-in will be like a motivator to be like, I'm failing, better start reading.
Cool. So my next one, again, kind of playing off of my 2019 goals, I wanted to read a classic a month. I'm switching that a bit to be just read 12 classics. So
Okay.
if I go on a classic binge, I don't have to worry about reading another one next month. So I like reading classics. There are so many, like I've read a lot of classics, but there's just an infinite number of them, really. There's so many books that are considered classics these days. And I would like to keep educating myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep that one.
Well, I don't mean to piggyback again. I swear this wasn't planned.
No.
But, I would also like to read more classics. I set a goal of 3, and if I do more than that, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do not read a lot of classics. So there are
it's
there
not
are
for
many
everybody.
that I'd like to get to.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of different classics. I think when you say the word classics, people kind of clam up sometimes. But there are like modern classics and children's classics, and like it doesn't need to be something from like the 1700s.
No, but like I would really like to read like Catch-22. I've never read that.
Which would be a modern classic.
Yes, which I only learned in the last couple of years is like a satire. I think I thought it was I don't know what I thought it was, but it apparently is not what I thought. So I think that'll probably be one of my 3, and I haven't decided on the other ones yet.
My second goal is to read more recommended books. When people find out you like books, and especially the close friends, they're always like, you should read this, it's my favorite book ever. You should read this, you should really read it. And I'm like, I don't want to. But I have a few newer close friends in the past couple of years, and they're always recommending books. So I think to kick it off, I'm going to read 100 Years of Solitude, which is like their favorite book.
Cool.
And we have talked about it a lot recently in our conversation together. So I think I'm going to make a better effort to be like, thank you for taking the time to like think of something that I would like. I'm going to give it a shot. Just to kind of, because usually I'm like, I'm not in the mood.
Right.
So I'm going to, take recommendations seriously.
Nice. No, that's great.
That's cool.
It's your So every year I usually pick a new author that I want to explore. We're cutting it out this year.
Okay.
But I do want to explore more of an author that I have read and loved her trilogy called the Broken Earth trilogy, which is N.K. Jemisin. She is a wonderful SFF writer, and I cannot wait to explore more of her books. She has so many different series on the go, and I can't wait. The 5th season was one of my all-time favorite books. It's one of the most brilliantly written novels I've ever read, and I can't believe it's taking me this long to read more of her books.
What is SFF?
Science fiction fantasy.
Yes, gotcha.
Sorry.
See, learning more about genres already. My next one was to read more globally. There was a really cool link that was posted on Facebook the other day that was from, I don't know if it was actually like from a TED Talk or if it was a woman who's done a TED Talk, but it was on TED's website. And they've actually like done an interactive map that's like, if you want to read globally, like here is a book from every single country in the world.
Cool.
And so I think I'm gonna dig into that because I did not do a very good job of reading diversely last year. Most of, I think probably all of my books were originally written in English. If I can get some translations in there this year, that would be great. Just more authors of color for sure, different backgrounds, not just, you know, from North America and the UK, which sort of tend to be my comfort zone. So just read more globally, sort of in every aspect.
That's a nice goal.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Inspired by your reading a new author every year that you want to do. I jumped on that with Charles Dickens last year, which was a fail. But this year, based on all the fantastic things you've both said, I'm going to read as much Jason Reynolds as I can this year.
Nice.
Cool.
Because I think it's going to be a lot of different types of stories, ones with prose, ones with verse, etc. So
Have you read his Spider-Man one
I've
yet?
read nothing by him, which is horrible. Even though you guys have spent an entire year being like, Jason Reynolds is the best.
We do like Jason Reynolds.
Yeah,
But I've
and
barely
I
read
am
any.
interested in reading his Spider-Man story. I think I had a like chapter sampler from when we went to Y'all Fest the first year, but I never really dove in. But like, I think he's someone I'm going to enjoy and will be like not very daunting to get into because he's written some YA, he's written some middle grade, so.
Well, I have a bunch of his stuff, so if you want to borrow it.
You're my girl.
Nice.
So next up, okay guys. In 2014, Karina asked me what book I wanted for Christmas. So this is before I started working for OwlCrate. This is before I lived in Vancouver. And I told her I wanted War and Peace.
Okay.
Which she got me. I've been wanting to read War and Peace. War and Peace has like an interesting connection to where I grew up. All of the profits, I don't know if all of the profits, but some of the profits that Leo Tolstoy made from War and Peace went towards helping the Duke of Wars, which is a persecuted religious group in Russia, flee Russia to Castlegar, which is where I went to high school.
Yeah.
I am not Duke of War, but it's a huge community there, and it's very important to where like you could take Russian in school, and it was like, so I just find that so fascinating, and I've been wanting to read it forever. Now, here's my caveat. I think the edition I have is not one known for being the most readable. I'm like perpetually 120 pages into it, which is 10% of it. If you guys have read War and Peace, suggest to me a great translation in the comments, please, because people have suggested things before and I always forget. If you leave them in the comments, I'll be able to find it. Better yet, if you have an audiobook that you think is really good, leave that in the comments for me. That'll be very helpful.
Okay.
I want to do it. I read the Count of Monte Cristo. I can do this.
Yeah. I can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would never have occurred to me that the translation matters. Of course it does.
Yeah.
Of course it does. Cool. Good goal. My next one is to read more backlist middle grade. I'm constantly reading the stuff that's coming out because that is my job, but there are so many books, both classics and that have come out in the last decade, in the last 20 years, and, you know, ones from when I was a kid that I, you know, all have such a fantastic reputation and I think about all the time but haven't actually read. So read more.
Some nice.
Yeah, I think I might start with Kate DiCamillo. I don't think I've actually read any of her books.
Oh, she's a Tale Despero.
I know, just haven't read it.
That's great.
So I love the interconnectivity that's constantly happening here. You mentioned War and Peace. So I discovered someone on Reddit recently who wanted to read War and Peace, but it's so daunting that they're like, I'm going to read a chapter a day because I think there's just under 365 chapters in War and Peace, and like it's a great way to read a classic. So not reading War and Peace, but a friend of mine started buddy reading the Count of Monte Cristo because even though I've read it like at least 10 times, she had never read it. So she's reading it in French and I'm reading a translation from French. So we're kind of comparing notes. And I did the math and I was like, if we read a chapter a day, we could finish in like 4 months. we fell off the wagon huge. So my goal in 2020 is to get through the Count of Monte Cristo with her, and also on the chapter a day system to read Dune, which is one of her favorite books, but a book I've always wanted to read. So I think we're going to finish Buddy reading Count of Monte Cristo, and then Buddy read Dune. So we can like compare notes and stuff. And like a chapter a day seems like genius. And I told a friend of mine who's not a huge fan of like the YA middle grade stuff. She's kind of a classics kind of person. I'm not like a contemporary literature kind of person, but she is working through Harry Potter. And when I mentioned a chapter a day, she's like, oh, it's a great way for me to try and get through Order of the Phoenix. So she's been reading
like bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, so she's been reading a chapter a day. So based on the War and Peace thing I discovered, my aim is to finish my buddy read of Count of Monte Cristo and to read Dune, whether it's a buddy read or like a slow burn kind of thing.
Nice.
So my last one is another kind of reading challenge. PopSugar also has every year a reading challenge, and this year I'm not doing their like normal challenge, but they have an advanced one, which is all prompts about that have the number 20 in them.
Oh, cool.
Because it's 2020, so there's like, I think there's 10 different ones. There's like a book written by an author in their 20s, a book with a 20 in the title, a book with a character with vision impairment, a nod to 2020 vision, like a book set in Japan, because that's where the 2020 Olympics are set, a book with more than 20 letters in its title. It's just like fun things like that.
That's
I think it'll be really fun to kind of like look back and check off throughout the year and be like, because chances are I will do most of these things without thinking about it.
Yeah. You could read Catch 22 with me.
You could read Catch 20. Yeah, exactly. I could do that. But yeah, I think it's just a fun extra challenge I've added this year, and I don't know, it's just like a fun, like last year I did the A to Z challenge, which is like read a letter with the book that starts with A, a book that starts with B, and this is kind of the same thing, the same kind of fun challenge.
Yeah. Neat. Nice. And my final one is to read some more nonfiction. I really don't read a lot of nonfiction, but there's so many topics that I'm so very interested in.
Good,
yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought of which ones to read yet, but I don't know.
I love nonfiction. I read quite a bit of nonfiction.
Yeah,
and it's very enjoyable. If you guys don't read nonfiction, I recommend just dipping your toes in it.
Yeah.
I read a lot of biographies, but I would like to read more like.
I think I want to read more like factual kind of stuff.
Totally.
Learning about an event or a thing, or rather than
I have some
a
recommendations
person.
for you after this.
Cool.
And again, on that note, anybody knows me, I'm a big fan of dinosaurs. I love science, and over the past couple of years, I've accumulated some fantastic dinosaur books. My beloved Brontosaurus I bought a few years ago, but have only dipped my toe into. The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs is like the latest kind of, I mean, it's 2 years old now, but.
Lost World.
So this has been on my shelf. I impulse bought it at Chapters one day, and then when we were at BookCon one year, I got the Dinosaur Artist from Hachette, and this is more like a black dino bones on the black market kind of thing, and like that kind of story, and like cost and stuff, but I've never read them. So this year I'm gonna read my dinosaur books and be like, stop collecting things because they're pretty, and read what you're interested in.
The Dinosaur Artist sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's Obsession, Betrayal, and the Quest for Earth's Ultimate Trophy. And I think I read through it on the back, and it says there was an interesting part about the black market. Highly leveraged.
This world of international fossil trade.
Yeah.
Neat.
So yeah, I think, and they look a bit daunting, but when you do it, it's like all of this is like bibliography and notes.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, it's not as, and I'm gonna be interested. Totally. So I need to just get off my butt and read about dinosaurs.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so that's all of our like
personal
goals. And now it's time for
set a number.
Our Goodreads number. I'm boring. I'm going with the same number I've done for the past 3 years in a row, and that's 175.
Okay.
That's my number.
You will surpass it.
It's fine.
But it's there.
It's there.
I'm going to stick with 72. That's what I did in 2019. I'm like 3 books shy of it right now, but I will for sure get to that by the end of the year, and that was like a very attainable goal for me. So stick with 72.
I'm also sticking with my number from last year, and that is 80. it seems in the earlier months of the year I read way more, and in the early days I'm like, oh, I'm totally gonna crush this, and then by the middle of summer I'm like, I might not make it. And now I'm at a point where like I think, you know, a book and a half a week is not impossible.
No.
So, and that's what the 80 kind of turns out to be. So I'm gonna stick with 80, and if I go over, that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
But I think
totally.
I can read 80 books again.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
So those are our bookish goals for 2020. We would love to hear what you have planned for the year ahead. You can leave those in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and like for more bookish videos every week. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome.
Bye.